Alright, this is just a very quick video detailing how to generally move the printer around and get it initially running. Granted, the Arduino needs to be replaced, so you'll want to make sure to either cut off or desolder all those wires and put them on the new board. And I think I'll send you a link for exactly which board to use. I would not recommend on the new board, do not use the screw wire pinchers. I don't know what they're called. These sockets are not very good. Just solder them directly onto the board. The main power rail from the power supply on the other side is going to come in here. It's just 12 volt negative and then positive. And then the next two are for the heated bed, and you're going to use the yellow and black terminals. For yellow is positive, black is negative. And then after that is the main fan right here, which will always be on just anytime the printer's on, and that's positive, negative. And then skip the next slot because that's for a second extruder, which isn't on here. And then the final slot is for the extruder heating element for the hot end, and that's positive, negative. So, and then the rest of the board down here, this bottom socket is for, you can see it right there, the bottom socket is for the thermal sensor in the hot end, and this wire just above it is for the thermal sensor in the heated bed. So heated bed here, and the white wire is the hot end thermal sensor. And then these three right here are for the end stops. So this is x-axis end stop, y-axis end stop, and z-axis. Oh no, sorry, ignore what I said. It's backwards. You use x minus is for the x-axis end stop, y minus is for the y-axis end stop, and z minus is for the z-axis end stop. And this is y, this is x, and up and down is z. And then finally the stepper motors, it just goes x, y, z, and then extruder at the bottom. And this z is actually a splitter because there's two different motors for the Z. And then navigating the menu real quick. This is the standard menu. It'll show you this is the hot end temperature. This is the bed temperature. And then the X, Y, Z position of the carriage at any given moment. This is the print speed. Sorry, I'll do that again in case you can't see it. Sorry. Hot end temperature, bed temperature, XYZ position of the carriage, print speed from stock, or whatever you set it in the G-code. If it's using the SD card, this will be the percentage that is completed from the file. This is the print time, and then that's just a status line. And then to load stuff, if there's an SD card, you can go in there and load the file. You can move any part of the printer from the control menu here. You do, oops, sorry, my mistake. Sorry, you do prepare from the main screen. You do click, you go to prepare, you go to move axis, and then you select, typically it's like 1 millimeter, and then you can move any one of the axes, so x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis. And then the motor that's not working right now is the extruder motor. You would typically be able to move that as well to if you're trying to feed a filament in. By the way, I'd recommend if you're putting filament in here, undo these two screws. Well, shut it off probably. Undo these two screws. This fan and heatsink will come off, and then the motor the extruder motor and feed line will come off as well. And then you can just clip the old PLA out, feed the new one in, reassemble it, turn it back on, and then start heating and feeding it into the hot end. That's if you choose to keep this as a printer. You could also try to mod it into a CNC machine or laser cutter or something. I neglected to put this wire back into the whatever, shrink wrap, whatever this is. Not shrink wrap, mesh. So you'll probably want to unclip that. I mean, the Arduino needs to be fixed anyways, so you're probably going to have to take some of this apart. Yeah, that's about it. Again, the menu, you can try to poke around in it. Control is, like, if you want to manually set any one of these, or if you want a quick set, you can also do prepare for, you can preheat PLA temperature, preheat ABS temperature, all sorts of stuff. And then auto home, which will just put everything back where in its default position. Granted, this does not have auto bed leveling. You'll have to manually level it. I would suggest peeling this tape off once you get it. And there's some screws under here on each side, on each corner. And you can, there's just a small little nut down here, and you can just adjust the height of any one of those. Also make sure that this side of the carriage and this side, or this side of the x-axis and this side are both level. There's little markers on the frame that you can check. But do make sure that this is level before you start leveling the bed, otherwise you're gonna have a bad time. So I'll put extra belts in the box in case something happens with those. I don't have any extra end stops left. I had to solder this one back on because it malfunctioned, came apart. But they're just standard, like, little switches. Trying to think if there's anything else. The power supply has 3 12-volt connections, I guess. This main lead is for the wall plug. That's the first 3 sockets, and then the next 2, it's like in, I can't remember, I think it's arranged like negative, 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 positive, 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 or maybe, I can't remember. It's been so long. But it does look like they're mostly black wires on this side, so I think it was negative, negative, positive, positive, positive. It's probably labeled on there, but you really shouldn't have to mess with this too much. That's already taken care of. And then I also did add a, on the side here, this is a, just standard PC 120 millimeter fan plug. I've just covered it with tape, but if you want to use that, I used this quite a bit. I had a fan splitter on this, and then I had 2 120 millimeter fans that I was using, and I would just arrange them on the sides of the printer because this blower fan is pretty terrible on its own. So you may need, I mean, you can try it, but try it without the fans, try it with the fans, I don't know. But that's what this is for, is you can get a 120 millimeter fan and plug it in and arrange it somewhere pointing at the bed for extra cooling. So that's it.